Welcome to MJ Hobby Corner, everyone. I am MJ and I will be the host for this little video. And I'm not sure if I'm going to attach parts of this video to a chat that Julie and I are planning for the channel. We are working on that. We're also working on a game that you guys, our subscribers, have chosen to see for this week, and that game is Stargrave, and we are going to be finishing that, and then I'm going to be busy editing because Julie has also done some fluff video, so I'll be busy editing that. But what I want to show you guys, and I need something to really distract my mind from everything that's going on in the world today, and Julie feels the same way. But one of the things I decided to do today, Tuesday, is to begin to work in the studio. Now today's still a little bit chilly out there, but the heat that I have in the studio is just enough to keep things comfortable while I work. I am redoing the studio, redoing some of the shelves. You'll see a lot of stuff on the floor. Please excuse the studio. There's a lot everywhere. Okay, I'm slowly beginning to organize things. My terrain wall, which stretches on the opposite side, this is a sum of all the terrain that I've done for the channel. It's also terrain that I had from 6 years back that I really liked, and it survived our move to the property. We've been in this property, what, 6 or 7 years now? About 6 years. The studio itself, the way it is today, is only about 4 years old, maybe less, actually maybe a little less. And of course my channel hasn't been around for long. It's a very young channel. So this is part of my spring cleaning, but today I'm really going for it. Okay, I'm changing everything around. I'm labeling shelves. Julie said she would help me to get some stuff moved around and everything else. And then once I organize my terrain wall, we're going to see that in just a minute. Then I organize my miniatures. It's a very large miniature collection. So there are a lot of things that I'm going to do. I'm going to be labeling shelves with all the different miniatures, where they're from, which manufacturer. That's going to help us a lot when we're looking for miniatures to assemble our games. Okay, because right now there's so many miniatures that it's just getting all confusing. Like, oh, where did I put that mini? And I want that mini for my warband, and I don't know where it is. So all of that, hopefully we're going to be labeling all the shelves. Julie will come in probably tomorrow because it's going to be warmer tomorrow, and so I wouldn't even need the heat tomorrow. Maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. And then we can really start tackling the minis. I'm going to show you those in a minute. Then there's all the sculptures that I've done for the channel. There's all the scratch builds. That's going to have its own shelf, its own space. And these scratch builds, I usually take from that collection, and then we use it to make our armies a little different. And there are many more scratch builds coming to the channel, hopefully. We also have 2 game tables, our primary game tables in the studio, that allows us to do very big games if we wanted to. A lot of our Oathmark games, you guys can see those in the Oathmark playlist. These tables also double as large craft tables when I'm working on really big projects, okay? So that's being organized now here. And then when I take you through the little tour right now, you're gonna see how I set it up differently. My game library, I just I just moved my game library. All the books were taken down. The area where I keep the books has been moved, and now all the game books are back. So that's my physical game library. That's been moved. I also have a new filming area, a very small area that I'm using for little talks whenever I want to chat with you guys. And I'm also using that little area for our night fights. And that's something that if you don't know, if you haven't seen what I do with my homemade lights, basically prepare them in such a way that I have a nice dark blue light that kind of simulates nighttime, moonlight, whatever it is, right? It just gives the game a whole completely new feel, especially if you're gaming in caverns, things like that. I have examples of that in my playlists if you want to see them. Well, I have a whole little corner dedicated to just that kind of thing. Okay. The move is also very important because, again, as I said, it's going to organize things. We have a couple of shelves that are empty. These shelves are going to house all of our miniatures that we've arranged in little warbands already, right? For games like Age of Fantasy, Grim Dark, Stargrave, 5 Parsecs from Home, all of the little warbands that I've assembled during these past couple of years to use in little campaigns and such, they have their own shelf. So this way I can go back to those warbands. Usually on the bases, I do a little like marking or something that identifies them, what warband they are from. So we're going to have that, and that's going to make it very easy if we want to continue in a campaign where our games are linked. We could use the same characters, you know, over and over. All those little warbands are kept in separate shelves and labeled. Okay, our Rain and Hell little bands are right in there as well, and then they get separated from the major collection. All right, let's go look at some of the stuff I've done already. Okay, so this is part of the primary collection, and you're gonna see a lot of these miniatures. They're going to take part in certain miniature spotlights that I do. The miniature spotlight, it's just going to concentrate on all these manufacturers, what I would use them for, what kind of miniature agnostic games, rules will they go for, and all that stuff, okay? So this is part of the primary collection. We also have our 172 scale and 15 millimeter scale in containers. All these containers are full of miniatures. These will have to be looked at and organized and see where we go with them. This is a very small part of my Uncharted Seas collection, and I am working on a major scratch build project that's going to add more and more ships to these and hopefully give us some fun games. We have some, this is a part of my pile of shame, which is going to be removed very soon and reorganized. These are some of the warbands that we already have organized, and they are labeled already as to which game they pertain to and who they belong to, whether Julie, me, or Steve. This is part of a very old collection here. These, I have a lot of work to do on these actually. But you can see some board game miniatures starting to creep in. The collection I'm showing you does not include board game miniatures and 15 millimeter or 172 scale. This is all 28 millimeter scale. My Deep Wars, which is mostly scratch builds, they have their own shelf. I don't know what I'm going to do with that shelf yet. And then we have a whole collection of scratch builds and conversion models and sculptures that I've made throughout the couple of years that we've been with the channel. And I have some pile of shame figures that are going to be removed and put in other places. All my pile of shame is going to be put on its own shelf system, because I have several shelves for it. But we have more, like these are all scratch builds, scratch build models and starships and walkers, things that you probably recognize from some of the videos that I've done. All right, so these are all scratch builds. Then we have a lot of Mantic stuff, and this is all part of my pile of shame. These models I have to now put in areas where I can continue to work on them. Okay, so this used to be my painting bench. This entire area is going to be redone. This area here, I'm adding extra shelves. You can see some board game miniatures. This area, all these miniatures are going to come out with the exception of my unpainted minis. And this is going to become my pile of shame. Basically, all the miniatures I need to work on are going to go in one place, okay? So there's a couple of sculptures of mine. There's a puffin I sculpted a couple of years ago. And there's that giant spider that I made. All these things, all this bench here is going to be reorganized. And I have a lot of 172 scale things that are going to become priority for me, okay? There's that giant millipede that I made. All right, so now we go to this area. This is the area that I just finished organizing. And this is a very important little area because this little area, this represents where MJ Hobby Corner started. This is a little corner of the studio. By the way, the studio, it used to be only half. Okay, it was a small area. Today I have the whole building for my studio, right? But it used to be just half. And so when I started the channel, Julie and I would do our chats from here. Most of the things that I did, even some of the games, came from here. And this is a corner, a little corner. So that's how I came up for the name of the channel, MJ Hobby Corner. This was my little hobby corner, okay? And this little corner, I used to work on my miniatures when I was when I had my little Etsy shop, and I would sell my sculptures, my little animal sculptures. This is where I came to kind of get away from sculpting a little bit and just work on my minis, you know. My pile of shame, this is what's left of it. So I've done a lot of work on my pile of shame, but there's still quite a few boxes there. Very shameful. And this is my 3rd edition Warhammer 40K collection. There are some really old models here. There are some broken up models. There's models from Battlefleet Gothic. A lot of things that I need to work on. I'm going to be redoing this. There is some terrain shelves here with all my Oathmark riverboats that I made. And I'm sorry if it's a little dark, okay? The lighting here, I'm still working on that. And I do have new light rings and things like that. Ring lights, I'm sorry. Okay, so I'll be putting those up very soon. All right, my little whiteboard with projects that I need to work on. This is the main sculpting bench. It is a mess right now. This is also one of my primary crafting benches. Okay, this has some really nice windows where my mind can kind of look. I have a bird feeder out there, so my mind can get away from things a little bit. But basically, this is all going to be redone. All of these shelves have to be redone, reorganized. These are all my materials for all the scratch builds. I have a ton of different recycled materials and things that I use. So all of this stuff has to be reorganized. Now, there's the ship that I made. This was one of the biggest project that I've had on my channel. This was a cardboard ship that I made for Ghost Archipelago. It is right there. Okay, and we still have board games and a lot of things here that hopefully get into this summer. We have Aeronautica Imperialis and we have Adeptus Titanicus, 2 things that I really want to get into this summer. Okay, so yeah, a lot of cleaning. You see the garbage bag there. Well, let's not look at that right now. A lot of bags and things that I have to clean up. All the terrain wall, I started redoing it. All my terrain is going to be, you see everything is like a mess right now. Got to remove all that stuff and redo that. This is going to be over the next couple of days. Now let me see if I can open this. These are ships that I made in the beginning of the channel. The very first videos I ever made. And these are all wooden starships. And then I have a whole bunch of clay Navy ships that I've made. Very World War I-ish or II-ish, right? These are all clay, wood, and various other materials. Okay, so this little shelf, I don't know yet where it's going to go. These are very old models, okay? So there goes the terrain wall. Everything's being put apart, and we'll see just how I organize all that. Okay, if we look here, these drawers actually have another part of the collection, and some of these things are, like this one here is breaking. I have to fix all that. You know, all of this stuff has to be fixed. This is my War Mahords collection. I have quite a few War Machine and Hordes models. This is my Gates of Antares. And then we have in these shelves, there are more and more miniatures. Dark Age Apocalypse, Oathmark. You know, we even have a little drawer with a bunch of Reaper minis. Okay. If we look here, we have Drop Zone Commander. Okay, we have quite a few Drop Zone Commander things, and you've seen these in some games already, Horizon Wars especially. Okay, and you've seen a lot of these Warma Hordes models in miniature agnostic games. All right, I also have a Reaper shelf in there. There's a bunch of Reaper minis. So a lot of miniatures, a lot of cleaning, a lot of redoing, reorganizing. And when I'm ready to tackle the miniatures, that's going to be a major project. Okay, I have to get everything out and just see, you know, what's going to happen with that. Reorganize everything. There's a lot of terrain. Look at all that terrain, box terrain. And there's one of our miniature gaming tables. The terrain wall continues for a good amount of length throughout the studio. And now all of these bins, I'm reorganizing them, labeling them and everything. They have a lot of terrain. There is a shelf here, this cabinet with all kinds of miniature accessories, game accessories, like stat cards and templates and dice and measuring devices, all that stuff is stuck in there. All right, so all that, I'm reorganizing some areas there, and look at all this terrain, all this stuff that I have to reorganize. Okay. All right, guys, well, that is all. I just wanted to show you guys the beginning of this major reorganization of the studio. The studio is the lifeblood of MJ Hobby Corner. This is where I plan all my big projects. This is where the games take place in the summer. We will also be doing games outside this summer, so you guys will see it right on the yard there and have, you know, natural lighting and all that. And then, of course, we have our satellite, little satellite areas in the house where we can film during the winter. I have made the decision to shut down the studio during the winters. It helps us a lot with the budget. Okay, so now it's ready to reopen. Spring, summer, fall. This is where you will see a lot of content coming out, and this will give us, you know, I can be working in here while Julie's doing something in there in the office. The office has become my little painting area now, so Julie can do work there and even film her own content over there while I do stuff in here. So it's very important to get the studio up and running right now. So, and that's what I'm working on. All right, folks, hopefully we won't be uploading very much this week, as this will continue this week, and we'll see what happens. So hopefully, let us hope for the situation to really to change. What can I say? It's a horrible situation going right now in the world. So let us pray and hope for the best. Hope to see you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and I hope that you will continue to support the channel. And we have a lot of plans for this summer. Please take care of yourselves, be safe, and we will see you in the next videos. And now I have to start cleaning again.